Hi friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Rachel. Welcome to today's reading vlog. Today's vlog is very exciting because we have a theme. Themed reading vlogs are my absolute favorite to do, and today's reading vlog theme is finishing series that I am in the middle of. This summer, I made a video where I went through every single series that I am in the middle of. It was really fun, it was really eye-opening, it was good to see how many series I am in the middle of, and I definitely, from that point forward, want to make it a goal to get through these series, to get through my physical TBR, to complete series, and that is what we are going to do today. So I'm going to be finishing 3 series this week. I am very excited about this. So I am going to be reading 3 finales in this video, and I just cannot wait to see what my reactions are to these books because I have very high hopes for all of them, very big expectations, and I'm nervous. So let's go through the 3 books that I'm going to be reading. All right, so the first series that I am going to accomplish this week is going to be the Once Upon a Broken Heart series, and I am going to be reading the final book, A Curse for True Love by Stephanie Garber. This is a YA fantasy romance trilogy. This book just came out last week, and I am so nervous, you guys. I do not know what is going to happen. I feel like I've seen some mixed reviews. I've been really trying to avoid spoilers. Like, I'm not watching anyone's vlogs on this until I am done with this book. I am not going on the Goodreads page for this book. I don't want to see people's ratings, but I still have seen like little bits here and there on people's stories about this book, and so I'm just nervous about what my reaction is going to be. But I have given the first 2 books 4 stars. I am hoping that I at least give this book a 4-star. I hope that I walk away from the series with positive feelings. One thing I do know is I absolutely love Jax, who was one of the main characters in this book, and I love Stephanie Garber's writing. The whimsy, the magic of it all is just something that I really gravitate towards, I really connect with. So I'm excited, but I'm nervous because also the end of book 2 was criminal. Like, that cliffhanger was insane. So I'm excited but scared for this. The next series that I am going to be completing this week is the Greenbone Saga by Fonda Lee. So I'm going to be reading the finale, Jade Legacy. A Curse for True Love, like, yeah, I'm scared because I don't know what my reaction is going to be. I have a feeling I know what my reaction is going to be for this book because I did give the first 2 books in this trilogy 5 stars. I expect I'm going to do the same with this because I just think that this is, I mean, I haven't finished this book, so I can't say this for sure officially, but I'm just gonna say this is a god tier series for me. This is a holy grail, perfect fantasy series for me, and I am scared to read this because I don't know what Fonda Lee is going to do with these characters. I am nervous for everyone. I am nervous for Hilo, specifically Wen, Andy. I am nervous for Shay. I just don't know how these characters are going to end up, and there are so many loose ends to wrap up. That's one of the things I absolutely love about this series. There's so much going on. It's chaotic. Every single chapter is a different POV, and every single POV has like 4 storylines happening, but Fonda Lee is able to still bring it all together and craft such an incredibly epic fantasy, and I'm very excited to see what she does, but I'm also just like so emotional too because I'm like really hoping that my favorite characters end up okay. I don't know. I don't trust Fonda Lee, okay? She has hurt me in the past, so I'll be very curious to see kind of what I think of the finale of this. And then the final series that I'm going to be completing this week, and this one has a little bit of an asterisk because this is going to be completing a trilogy, but there are like more books in the overall saga, and that is of course Morningstar by Pierce Brown. So this is the finale of the Red Rising trilogy. We of course know that Pierce Brown has written more books in this world. I do believe that they follow the same characters, but I know that Red Rising, Golden Sun, and then Morningstar are like the original trilogy, so I'm counting it. Okay, we're finishing a series by reading this. And once again, very excited, very nervous. The second book in the series, Golden Sun, the cliffhanger was cruel and unusual, and I hated it. And I'm just so excited to get back into this world and back with these characters and see how things kind of get wrapped up. Once again, I think that all 3 of these books have really strong middle books, which is sometimes a very hard thing to do. I sometimes think that the sophomore book in a series can be a little bit difficult. It can feel like filler, but I personally think that Ballad of Never After, Jade War, and then Golden Sun were really strong second books, and I think that they are leading to hopefully really fantastic finales. So I hope that I'm satisfied by this ending. I'll be very curious to see how this book ends. Like, does it end cleanly or does it leave it open for the future books? I don't know, but I'm excited, and once again, very nervous. So this is the TBR for this week. I'm very excited. I also want to say this will be entirely spoiler free. I'm not going to spoil the series or what happens in these books. I'll just give you kind of context free reactions, but I'm still really excited to talk about them. So let's get started with finishing some series. And I think I'm going to start with A Curse for True Love just because I need to know what everyone thinks. I need to talk to my friends about this book. I just have to know how this ends. And this is also, I think, the shortest one too. So I'm going to start with the shortest one and get this started. So I will check in with you all once I have started this book and give you my first thoughts. Hello besties, how are we? So it's a few hours later, same day. It is almost 10 p.m. so it's getting a little bit late. I'm probably gonna be going to bed soon, but I wanted to give you guys my first impressions on A Curse for True Love because I am 40% of the way done with this book. I am having so much fun. I am having so much fun, you guys. Oh my god. This is going really well so far, I have to say. I was very nervous. I did not know what I was going to think. The ending of The Ballad of Never After is really crazy, and I was very concerned about the way that that was going to be handled and kind of how Evangeline was going to be portrayed in this book, and thus far I'm loving the way that things are going. I mean, like, not because like things are not going well, but I just like the way that Stephanie Garber is kind of having things play out. It's very entertaining. I'm super into it, and it's giving me hope that I'm gonna really love this book. I mean, I'm 40% of the way through and I have so many butterflies. I love Jax. I just do. Like, I never love a blonde romance hero. It's never gonna be me. But Rowan Whitethorn and Jax, they're the exception. I just love him so much. He's such an interesting character, and we actually do get his POV in this book. Not like super frequently, but we do get like a few POVs in this book, and I'm really enjoying that. I think that that is something that I kind of wanted throughout the whole series, and I would have really enjoyed. And I'm just really enjoying the way that things are going. I'm just having so much fun. Oh my god, I don't know. I'm not gonna say the whimsical writing because I say it every single time when I talk about Stephanie Garber, but like, if you know, you know. You know, the writing is just, it's insane. Stephanie Garber's pen is truly something else. That's all I really have to say. I don't want to spoil anything, so it's really hard for me to talk about this, but I really like the way that things are going, and I'm really liking Evangeline a lot more this time around. You know what it is? Hannah was talking about this, and I decided to try it for this book. We have talked about how we both like these books, but we do feel like Evangeline can be like a little bit annoying, whatever. And then Hannah decided to do a reread of the first two books without listening to an audiobook because she had listened to an audiobook the other times. I had as well. And she did say that upon the reread without an audiobook, she did like the books better. So for A Curse for True Love, I decided I'm not gonna get the audiobook. I'm just going to physically read the book just because I've never done that with one of Stephanie Garber's books. And I have to agree, like, I'm really liking Evangeline. She's not grating on me the way that she has in previous books, or just like not as much. I'm really liking her, and so now I'm like, damn, was it just the audiobook narrator that I didn't like, and that's why I wasn't obsessed with Evangeline in Once Upon a Broken Heart and Ballad of Never After? I don't know, but it's really working for me. The physical reading experience is just really working for me. I'm gonna keep reading. I told myself I was gonna go to bed after this, but I may have lied to myself and to you all because I think I'm gonna stay up and read a little bit more. But yeah, I'm excited. I will say there are a ton of plot lines that are still, you know, waving in the wind right now that we have not tied up, and I'm 40% of the way through. So I will be curious to see how we wrap this up. I hope it's wrapped up nicely, cleanly, in a way that makes sense, but we don't like sacrifice any character or relationship development for that. So that'll be interesting. But that's pretty much all I want to say. I will talk to you guys when I have more to say on this. It might be when I'm done. It might be when I'm just a little bit further, but yeah, this is going really well. So I'll talk to you guys soon. Good morning, crusty crew. How are we doing? I have very exciting updates. I finished A Curse for True Love this morning, which means I have finished the first series of this reading vlog, the Once Upon a Broken Heart series by Stephanie Garber. And I have so many thoughts, you guys. I have so many thoughts that we will get into. Overall though, I loved this reading experience. I had so much fun. Once again, the writing, every single time I talk about Stephanie Garber, I talk about how magical the writing is. We all know, blah, blah, blah. So good. It was so good. It transports you in a way that I really enjoy. I just really vibe with this writing style, and Stephanie Garber did not disappoint on that front. I really did like Evangeline a lot more this time around. I definitely prefer the physical reading experience compared to the audiobooks when I have read the other two books, and the story wrapped up nicely. For sure. It definitely wrapped up in a way that I was happy with. I love our boy Jax, and the journey that Evangeline went on was super entertaining, really enjoyed. Overall, I am happy with this ending, and I gave the book 4 stars. I had too much fun to not give this book at least a 4-star, but there are a couple of things that did disappoint me about this book. But I still loved it. It's really hard. I feel incredibly conflicted about this book, but overall, I just want to say, like, really enjoyed myself. I think it's a good ending. I am happy, but I do think that there were some missed opportunities here in this book. But like, for enjoyment purposes, 4 stars. I said I wasn't going to do this, but I need to talk spoilers with you guys because I just need to like talk about the things that are conflicting me with how I feel about this book and, you know, just some of the missed opportunities and things like that. Like, I just have to. Okay, so I'm going to put up a timestamp. So if you do not want to be spoiled for A Curse for True Love for the series as a whole, I'm going to put a timestamp that you can skip ahead to and you will not be spoiled. So now is your time. Go ahead to that timestamp and I'll talk to you guys soon. All right, hello spoiler people. Here's the thing. As I said, like, I really did like this book. I thoroughly enjoyed myself, but I cannot like ignore the obvious, as I said, like missed opportunities that this book had that I think Stephanie Garber really just should have taken. I'm a little bit confused. Number one, the lack of Jax that we get in this book is concerning. Like, I'm so surprised at how little we got of him. He's the main character. I mean, along with Evangeline, but like, he is the main character and I just wanted so much more of him. I wanted so much more of Jax, and he is my favorite character in this book. He is my favorite part of this book. Oh, sorry, the lighting is changing. He was so excellent in Once Upon a Broken Heart and Ballad of Never After, and I was just ready to see that Jax again in the finale and see what he's going to do, you know, to get Eva back and all of that. But yeah, I just felt that he was not only not as present, but I also feel like he was just a little bit different in this book. Like, he felt a little flat. And what I like about Jax is he does have that moral grayness. It is in this very kind of fluffy YA fanro setting, but like, he is a little bit morally gray. You know, he has done some bad things. He has not always done what the good guy is going to do, but that's what I like about him. You know, he's a little bit sassy and I enjoyed that. And obviously I know he's like very depressed and in a bad place and everything is terrible, you know, at the start of this book, but Jax was lacking, you know, physically his presence was not around as much, and then also I think a little bit of his personality was dimmed. Number two, Apollo. We got so much of him. And I do not have an issue with the Apollo POV chapters. I know I saw a lot of people on Goodreads were like, I hated every single one of those. I didn't. I did not mind them, but we got way too many. Way too many. Apollo is not that compelling of a character to have that many POV chapters. You know what I mean? Like, he's not that guy, you know? He's never gonna be that guy. Well, apparently he is, and we'll get to that in a second. But Apollo is not a very compelling person to me, and I did not hate his POVs. I liked them at some points just to kind of get where his head is at. You know, obviously, like, he's the villain and all of that, so I don't mind a little villain POV, but I could have done with a lot less. And then just the way that Eva and Jax's romance wrapped up was so quick, I think. It was very quick, and the thing is, this whole trilogy, we have been doing this will they, won't they. Jax and Eva have been doing this dance and this back and forth, and there's been so much angst and tension, and this is like one of the slowest burns ever, which I totally commend Stephanie Garber for. But then I feel like there was very little payoff in seeing that. And obviously, I knew that in the beginning of the book, it was gonna be difficult. Eva didn't have her memory, she didn't know who Jax was, but I still think, number one, Jax could have played a bigger presence earlier on in the book, and then number two, I don't know, I just would have liked to see them come together and work together to work through all of these conflicts that happened in this book earlier on. And even if we didn't have the love proclamation until later, I just still wish I could have seen more of them together. Their romance, I feel like, was very neatly tied with a bow, and all of these consequences kind of seemed to just fall away and weren't that big a deal, and like the Apollo thing happened at the end and it was like, okay, cool, we can be together now. And it's like, we went through 3 books of turmoil with you two, and this is how quickly it's all gonna be resolved and you guys are happy now? Like, I was disappointed by that. But like, it's weird because I'm not mad at this book. I loved reading it. Like, I had so much fun. And also I read this in like a day. Like, I started it yesterday afternoon and it's the morning when I'm recording this, so I read it very quickly. But yeah, those are my 2 biggest spoilery reasons that I'm just left feeling like question mark. Also, weird, like, non-conclusion of a lot of storylines. Her stepsister, there's no presence of her stepsister in this book. There is no presence of Luke, and those just feel like very untied ends. Also, Lala's storyline is kind of like, okay, I don't really know what's gonna happen with her. I just feel like there's multiple storylines that we could have completed, and I don't know if that was done on purpose for like future stories, if like her stepsister is gonna get a book, if Luke is gonna get a book. What I have heard, what the girlies are saying, is due to some of the bonus epilogues, it sounds like Apollo and Aurora are going to be our next main characters, which I don't know how I feel about that, because as I said, I don't think Apollo is... he doesn't give main character energy. He also, I don't know if I can like say this, but he unalived a kid. So I'm just like, I don't really, like, I'm all here for the moral grayness, but like in a YA fantasy setting, I just don't know how you come back from that. And then Aurora, I could kind of tell that she was gonna be our next main character, and she is someone that I'm curious to learn more about. So I'm not mad about that, but I am kind of like, I don't care about Apollo. You know, like Stephanie Garber is gonna have to do a lot to make me like him and to root for him the way that I rooted for Jax and the way that I fell in love with Jax, because I just don't think Apollo is that interesting at this point. Those are my spoilery thoughts. I would love to know your thoughts. If you do want to comment on this book down in the comment section, maybe mark your comment as spoilery or just kind of like start your sentence and then, you know, do some spaces down so that other people aren't spoiled. But I do want to hear what you guys think of this book. I enjoyed it. I had a really good time, but it does have problems. It's a good ending, but it's not a great ending. Those are all my thoughts. All right, so the next book that I'm going to be picking up is Jade Legacy by Fonda Lee. I am so excited. This book is long, you guys. This is the longest book in the series thus far. We have so many storylines. Fonda Lee puts a lot of storylines in each of her characters' POVs, so I'll be very curious to see how those are all wrapped up. I really do trust her though. I do think that she is just so talented, and the story that she has crafted here so far has been so well done and so well thought out that I'm very excited to see kind of how she completes these characters' stories and how we kind of come to some sort of peace. I don't know if we'll come to full peace in this world, but just some type of satisfying ending for our characters. And I just really hope that my favorite characters make it out. I don't know if they will, but I'm excited. So I am going to get started on this, and I will talk to you guys when I have a reading update for it. Happy Monday. So it has been a few days since I've talked to you all. I decided to take a pause on this vlog so I could do a little Fourth Wing reread. I am just getting back into this vlog. As you guys saw in the b-roll, I was just reading a little bit, and then I was also watching booktube and then planning some vlogmas content, and I'm just so excited for December, you guys. I cannot wait for all the videos I'm going to be putting out. I have them all planned out now. I'm really excited. It's going to be super fun. December is going to be a great month, and I'm also just so excited for 2024 as far as like a reading year and just a booktube year and everything. I just feel like it's going to be really fantastic. I have a really good feeling about this next year, and I'm so excited to just start fresh at like 0 books and see what books I discover, what authors I discover, all of that. Okay, I'm like fully getting off track now. I promise I will loop myself back around here pretty soon, but I feel like 2023 was a good reading year for me. Like, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't fantastic. You know what I mean? Like 2022, I feel like I had a lot more highs than I did in 2023 thus far. It was good, but not amazing. And I am just excited to kind of have a fresh approach to the new year with my reading. And I just have a lot of goals for myself, and I'm excited about it. And I can't wait to take y'all along on just a new reading year. I'm just excited for the new year, but wow, this is a finishing series. I'm in the middle of vlog. How are we? Welcome back. As I said, I was reading Fourth Wing this weekend, but I finished that last night. And then today I did quite a bit of reading of Jade Legacy. So I am not very far. I feel like I've read so much of this book, but I am only on page 185, which is about like 26% of the way done with this book. So a quarter of the way done. And something really weird is happening. Well, it's not weird for me, but just in general, it's kind of strange. I keep tearing up while I'm reading this, and nothing sad is happening. So I don't know what's going on, but I am feeling very emotional about this book, and like nothing crazy has happened to any of my favorite characters yet, so it's not like I'm reacting to, you know, big deaths or anything. I am just feeling very emotional and anxious about this book ending, but I also just have to get to the end. Like, I just want to know so badly how this is going to end. So that's kind of the update for now. I'm a quarter of the way in. I'm loving the way that things are going. There has been a lot of turmoil, kind of just plot-wise, not so much as like what is happening with our characters internally, but I know that that's coming. I have to say, I'm enjoying Andon so much in this book thus far. I've enjoyed him in every single one, but he has just really stood out to me thus far in this book. I think he's such a great character. So that's kind of all I have to say for now with Jade Legacy. I am going to keep reading tonight. I'm very excited and scared and emotional and weepy. For some reason, I'm very weepy while I'm reading this book. I just keep tearing up while I'm reading. And yeah, the series just means a lot to me, and I think it's hitting me that this is ending. But I am also really, really scared for the future of my favorite characters. All that to say, I feel like this book is achieving what it should, because I love an emotional finale. I am all about that. And apparently, this book is delivering for me thus far, even though nothing actually super emotional has happened yet. I'm just feeling fragile. So I'm going to keep reading tonight. I would kind of like to finish this book tomorrow because I want to know how it's going to end. So that is going to be the update for now. I'm going to go read, and I will talk to you guys later. Hello, Angel Besties. The lighting is not great, so I will try to keep this brief. Also, I'm gonna keep this brief because I am checking in with you all when I am 94% of the way done with Jade Legacy, but I'm kind of at a good point in the story, I think, to stop, check in with you all, and then kind of just barrel towards the end. I can tell by the way that things are being set up that, I don't know, I feel like something big is about to happen. I mean, the book is ending, so like that's big, but I do just feel like we're kind of ramping up with the plot and things are feeling, I don't know, I feel really anxious going into the end of this book. I've been reading all day. I read all day yesterday. I'm reading all day today. I'm super, super anxious to finish this book. It's just been a really great reading experience. I am gonna start like tearing up. I don't know what it is about this book, but I just think this whole series is a masterpiece. I love these characters so, so much. It feels so real to me. I'm super overwhelmed with like everything that has happened in the book thus far. There's so much to love about this series. There's so much going on. There's so many characters to root for. There are so many just interesting moments in the book where you question the morals of these characters, which I think is just it makes for an interesting reading experience. Also, you know, kind of notice something in this book, and this has been a theme throughout all three, but the way that she depicts women in this series and like in this book in particular, the struggle that they have to go through in this world that is so run by men, even sometimes enemies can find common ground on that type of thing of just being a woman in this world and what that looks like. I've been really touched by that aspect, and if you've read this book, you kind of know what I'm talking about, but that has made me emotional. And yeah, I'm just holding on by a thread here basically. I'm really, really sad to see this end, and I just feel like this is one of those series that I feel like lucky to have read. I feel lucky to have experienced this story because it has done such a number on me. Oh my God. I've just been tearing up on and off all day. I am on page, let's see, I'm on page 675 and there are 713 pages. So I do not have much to go. So I will see you guys after I have finished this, and hopefully I'm okay at the end. Okay, talk to you guys later. Hi friends, it is the next day and I have finished Jade Legacy and I'm gonna start crying. I finished Jade Legacy last night. It was so, so good. Like obviously, right? Like I don't know what you guys want from me. I gave it 5 stars. I loved it so much. I feel extremely overwhelmed still this morning from the ending of this book. Last night when I finished it, I was just crying. I was just reminiscing on the entire series. I felt so emotional and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna do a check-in last night because I was too emotional and I am tearing up as I'm talking right now. This whole reading experience was so, so good. So rewarding, painful at times, really, really painful, but I love the way that the series ended. I love the way that we tied up everyone's stories. You know, I mean, I say that with pain in my heart, but this series is incredible. This is one of the best series I've ever read in my entire life. The Greenbone Saga is a top tier, top 5 fantasy series for me, and these characters are gonna stick with me forever, I think. Like, I feel so deeply impacted by their stories, and I loved the way that everyone's story arc went. Honestly, I thought it was so well done, and I'm going to miss them a lot. This is like a tough one, honestly. Like, A Curse for True Love, it was fun, it ended, it was cute. This was like, I feel like I'm grieving. Like, I am leaving this world, I am leaving these characters, and I'm not gonna have them anymore, and I'm really sad about that. I'm sure that I will reread the series one day, but it's one of those series that like I need time away from it to like recover. It's a super impactful series with the writing, with the characterization, with the relationships and friendships. Everything was really well done, and I think meant to really pack a punch, and it sure did. I also wanted to share a very scary story with you guys about this book. Like 2 years ago, like 2021, I want to say, before I started my booktube channel, I bought Jade City because I saw someone talking about it on booktube and I thought it sounded good, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll pick that up, like that sounds cool. But then in like early 2022, I want to say, I unhauled Jade City because I was intimidated by the book and I thought, I'm not gonna get it, I'm not built for this book, like I'm just taking myself out of the game before I strike out type of thing. It just really intimidated me. It just seemed like this very high level advanced book that I just wasn't going to get, because I think at the time I just started getting back into fantasy, and so it really intimidated me. So I was like, I'm gonna unhaul it. And then thankfully, I decided to pick it back up again sometime last year because someone was talking about it online, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give it a shot, and thank God that I did. Can you imagine? Isn't that terrifying that I unhauled one of my new all-time favorite series? I unhauled a series that made me cry a million times and has amazing characters and writing and plotting. That is literally terrifying. So be careful about what you're unhauling. I'm sure I'm just thinking now to other things that I've unhauled that I'm like, I don't think this is for me. It's probably my favorite book of all time and I have no idea. But all that matters is that I did end up buying a copy of Jade City again and giving it a shot and absolutely loving it. So please pick the series up. I know that like some people find it intimidating. I was one of those people, but it's not complicated magic or fantasy. That's actually like pretty simple. I just think that, you know, the one thing about this series is there is quite a bit of world building, but I think like if you love fantasy, world building is just part of the package. And the way that Fonda Lee writes it is one of those things where as you're reading Jade City, the first book in the series, you're gonna be like, oh, I don't know if I understand that concept, or ooh, I'm not sure if I understand the dynamic between, you know, these people, but I'll get there. I'll just keep going and it'll come up again and it'll make more sense. And it truly is one of those that as you read, you're just going to understand more and more, and it will all make sense eventually, I promise. It is a little daunting when you first start it, but because the characters are so fantastic, you're going to fall in love with it and be like, I'm just gonna keep going with this. I'm gonna trust the process and I will understand what's happening. And that was my experience, at least, where I was a little bit like, oh wow, there's, you know, so much world building, there's a lot going on, I need to remember all these names. But then as the book went on, it just made more sense to me. So I urge you to pick this up, please, please, please. I don't even know if I've talked about what the Greenbone Saga is, but it's an adult fantasy. I would call it like an urban fantasy. It kind of takes place in this city. And essentially Jade is the magic source, the power source. It's highly coveted. And we follow this family. They are the Call family. They're like the leaders of the No Peak clan, and they have control of some of the Jade, and then the Mountain clan has control of some of the Jade. So we watch their dynamics of kind of warring with that other family, but you also watch the dynamics of our three main characters, Shay, Hilo, and Lon, who are all siblings, and you watch them and kind of navigate through their lives and what it's like to be in that type of situation. It definitely gives like Sopranos, Godfather type of vibes, definitely. But what like I really latched onto and what really makes me love this series is we follow these characters through so much growth and so much change, and you watch their hearts break, you watch them grieve death, you watch them try different careers, and just you watch the dynamic between one another, and you really just get to know them so well, and you really get to be inside of their heads. And they're all super different characters. I think that Fonda Lee was able to distinct everyone's voices really well. And then you also follow some other characters who are also involved in the No Peak clan, their experience dealing with just kind of the main central plot of keeping control of the Jade in the city and what that's like, but then also them just navigating life in this world and what it is like to be them specifically, and how their journey kind of gets laid out along with just the general plot. So I don't know, it's really good. It's a super character-driven story, and you follow them for years and years and years. Oh my god, there was so much time spanning in Jade Legacy, which I really liked and I didn't expect. So it's just one of those books and series that is going to stick with me forever. And it's a 5-star series. I gave every single book in the series 5 stars, and yeah, I love it. I love it, and I hated every single second of it. So I'm really happy to have read this, but I'm really sad and we just need to move on because now I am going to be reading Morningstar by Pierce Brown. So this is the final book in the Red Rising trilogy. I'm very curious how this is going to end. If it's going to be like an epic conclusion, or because there are other books, are we going to be leaving some things open? I'm not sure, but I am excited to get back with Darrow. He was left in a precarious situation at the end of Golden Sun, we shall say. I'm very curious to see how we're gonna wrap up this original trilogy, and I think it's gonna be really cool. So I need to get into the Red Rising mindset. So I'm gonna start this. I am going to be listening to the audiobook. I love the audiobook narrator, and I'll let you guys know what I think in a little bit. Hello, bestie queens. How is it going? How are you guys? It's the next day. I have been doing so many things this morning. I got a new chair for my book room, which I'm very excited about. I'll probably show you guys that later because there is construction happening on that side of the house. So that's why I'm filming in the kitchen, but I'm super excited about it. It's huge and white and fluffy, and it reminds me of my cat. So that's always a good thing, but I'm really excited. I'm gonna spend a lot of time reading in that chair. And yeah, we'll talk about that later. But I have been very productive as well with my reading today because I started Morningstar. I didn't start it last night as I hoped that I would, and as I think I told you guys I would, because I got distracted with watching Bake Off, Great British Baking Show, Great British Bake Off. You guys know what I'm talking about. No spoilers because I am not caught up yet. I only watched a couple episodes, but I just love that show so much. It makes me so happy. It is just the most pure, happy, low stakes, low stress, wholesome show. I love it so much. So I got distracted with watching that, and then I was just too tired to start a book. So I did not start Morningstar last night, but I did start Morningstar this morning. I am about 40% of the way through this book, and I think I'm gonna finish this today. I have been listening to the audiobook all morning, and it's been a really great experience. The audiobook narrator for the Red Rising audiobooks, he is just so talented, so good. I love his accent. I think that he just gives so much life to Darrow and to all of these characters. So it's a really enjoyable listening experience. I have also been reading along here and there as well, and I'm really liking this book. If you don't know, the Red Rising trilogy is a sci-fi trilogy. It follows our main character. His name is Darrow, and Darrow is a Red. The Reds are essentially enslaved by the Golds to try to make the surface of Mars habitable, but Darrow ends up finding out that the Reds have been lied to their whole lives for generations, and that Mars has been inhabitable. Basically, the Golds have just been profiting off of their labor, and Darrow decides to infiltrate the Golds and start a revolution in order to save the Reds and all of the other people who are impacted by the Golds, and so many other things happen after that. So it's a really fun, really crazy, action-packed story, and this is the third and final book of the Red Rising trilogy proper. There are more books, Iron Gold, Dark Age, and then Lightbringer. I don't know what happens in those books, but I'll be very excited to read those. This is a finale that's particularly hard to talk about because there's like characters that I want to talk about, but their fates are very precarious throughout the whole trilogy. So I don't want to say I love this character if that character might have had an unsure ending in Golden Sun or something like that. So I will just say I love lots of characters in this book, and there's a really just great cast of different characters. And while there is so much action and intense things happening and very emotional scenes, I think that Pierce Brown writes a lot of emotion into his characters, into even his action scenes, into the thoughts of his characters and what they're going through. It's a very, very tense situation. The stakes are high all the time. While all that's going on, he is still able to put in a lot of banter with his characters, and I think that the dialogue is just so strong in this book, and it keeps a sort of lightness, you know, throughout the book, even though dark times are happening throughout the whole trilogy, honestly. But I just really enjoy it. I really like Pierce Brown's writing style. I was talking about this with Cami this morning, but I just think that he produces so many like beautiful quotes, so many annotation worthy quotes. I'm not annotating because that would take me way longer, but I just think that there's a lot of profound moments in his writing that really just make you sit back and go, wow, this is not just the sci-fi action-packed novel. I also think that he does try to have an intelligent viewpoint on society, and then also just we're really getting to know the characters, and even if they are seeming strong and seeming brave, they also have a lot of fear, a lot of insecurities, and a lot of doubts. And I really enjoy that about his writing style. So that is pretty much all I have to say on Morningstar. And yeah, I'm gonna try to knock this baby out today, you guys. I will stay up late if I have to. So I'm going to keep reading Morningstar, and I will give you all more thoughts as they come. Hi friends! friends. So it is the next day and I am here to close out this vlog and give you my final thoughts on Morningstar. I did end up finishing it last night, but it was so late. It was like 11:30, 11:45, so I just could not film. I had no thoughts in my head after finishing this book, so I want to give you those now. Before I do though, let's talk about the shirt. I am, right after I film this clip, I am going to the Jonas Brothers concert. I am so excited. It's gonna be such a nostalgia-filled night. I really hope they play Camp Rock songs. That's why I'm wearing a Burnin' Up t-shirt. Just wanted to address that. But let's discuss Morningstar. This book ended up being, once again, a very successful ending. I feel like we have a theme in this vlog where all of the finales have been satisfying to varying degrees, but I do think that for the most part, they accomplish what finales need to do, and Morningstar is no exception. There was so much action. There were so many high stakes constantly, just all gas, no breaks, as Pierce Brown likes to do, and I did really enjoy this ending. I just latch on so much to the characters in this book. I really loved them. I'm excited to see what we're gonna see from them in future books and kind of just what those other books are going to look like. I love Pierce Brown's writing. I think it is just so strong. I think it's really beautiful too. I don't want to spoil anything, of course, so I'm gonna keep it vague there, but I will say I gave this book 4 stars. I love Pierce Brown's writing and I love the Red Rising trilogy. Like, I would recommend this series to anyone, but I just haven't got a 5-star from any of the books yet. I've given them all 4 stars just because they are so action heavy, and that's just not the type of reader that I am. I sometimes do find myself having trouble kind of imagining some of the action scenes when they're so like back to back to back. So much is happening. It's so crazy, moving all around in space at all these different places. It just can be a little bit daunting sometimes to get through. It wasn't quite a 5-star, but it was still very good. So I'm super happy that I read this. And with that, I have completed the Red Rising trilogy. So I'm very excited. Next year, I am going to get all caught up on Pierce Brown's book. So whenever he comes out with his next book, I will be ready. But I absolutely love this trilogy. Reading Red Rising and the whole trilogy was definitely a highlight for this year for me, for sure. So with all that being said, I have now completed 3 series that I was in the middle of. I am so excited. It's bittersweet. I'm going to miss them. I feel like Jade Legacy ruined my life, honestly. Like, reading that book, ugh, God, I don't know how I'm ever going to recover from that, but it is very gratifying to finish these series, to challenge myself to get through them. And as I continue to just start new series all the time, I am sure that I will make this a series on my channel. I definitely want to work on finishing series, show you guys that kind of process and document my way through these series. And once I've finished a completed series, give you guys recommendations. I think you should be picking up those series as well. So very good week, very bittersweet, but I'm really happy that I read Once Upon a Broken Heart, the Red Rising trilogy, and of course the Greenbone saga. If you made it to this point in the video and you wanted to let me know, go ahead and leave the flame emoji, I guess, for burning up. Please make sure that you're following me on Instagram and Goodreads. They are always linked down below. I really appreciate that you watched this video. I hope that you're having a fantastic day. I love you all so much, and I will catch you guys in the next one.